Okay, so we probably have a few people that have joined. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to go and find a yoga strap if you have it. If you don't, just a towel, like a long towel. If you have a towel, something that is about like maybe this long, it'll help you at the end of the class, just with some of the stretches that we're doing. So hopefully you felt good after last week. From what I remember, we did like an all over body stretch. So this is going to be kind of a continuation of that. And we're going to add just a little bit more hamstring stretch, quad stretch. So this is kind of like a part 2 of our second class. Okay, so we're actually just going to jump right into the Surya Namaskar A series. So just come to the top of your mat. You're going to have your feet just about like a fist distance in between your big toes. The outside edges of your feet are about parallel. All right, so while more people are joining, we're just going to stay in Tadasana for a little while. So don't worry if you're joining late, you're not going to miss very much. All right, so feel your toes lifting. Lift your toes up nice and high, and then slowly spread them out. And one by one, place your toes back down on the mat, so that you've got just a little bit of space in between your toes. All right, now feel your muscles of your legs tightening up, kind of hugging the bones in your legs.
Is it 11 o'clock?
And then lift up through your spine. Feel your shoulder blades rolling down. Good, so we're building Tadasana right from the base all the way up to the top. And I want you to feel like right from the crown of your head, somebody's pulling upward. So like there's a string attached to the crown of the head and someone's pulling up. So it's lengthening out your spine. So I want you to feel like you're rooting down right from the hips all the way down through the legs. You're solid. And then from the hips up through the spine, you're growing nice and long. And the arms are relaxed. So every time you come to standing, just try, even throughout the week, try to find this nice, strong Tadasana or mountain pose position. All right, so when you're ready, inhale, reach up to your arms. As you exhale, just hinge forward right from the hips and just stop when you start to feel a little bit of stretch. Now, I'm a little bit tight today, so I'm not going to reach all the way down. Inhale, lengthen your spine a little more. Good, and then exhale, step all the way back. And we're just going to come back to downward facing dog. And Wilfred is going to visit with me. So just a couple of breaths. So in downward facing dog, lots of us cyclists are quite tight. Give your knees a bend, stretch back through your hips, and really root down through all 4 corners of your hands. So it's better to have a nice long spine. Good, on your last exhalation, exhale as much as you can, and then just step all the way back up to the top. Inhale, lengthen out. And then exhale, try to come down a little farther. Soften your knees if you need to. Inhale, reaching up through your arms. And then back to that strong Tadasana position. So again, nice rooting down through the legs, lifting up through the spine. So that was nice and slow. So let's go a little faster. Inhale, and then exhale, come all the way down. Inhale, lengthen out a little bit. And then exhale, stepping all the way back to downward facing dog. So for those of you that are a little bit more flexible, you can start to reach your heels down, all the way down to the mat. So one more deep breath. And then as you exhale, exhale all the way and then step all the way back up to the top. Inhale, lengthen out nice and long. And then exhale all the way down. Inhale, reaching up. And then exhale back to that Tadasana position. So nice and strong. So now this time all on your own. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale back. If you do find downward dog is a little challenging, makes you dizzy, or maybe your arms are just really tight and sore, you can also just come right to child's pose. It gives you really similar benefits. So there's always options for you. So just another deep breath here. All right, exhale all the way and then step up. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale. This time just interlock your arms or interlace your arms and just let your spine hang. Give your knees a little bend. All right, and when you're ready, slowly come all the way up, reach up through your arms, and back to Tadasana. All right, good. So Surya Namaskar is just warming us up, getting us ready to go. So we're gonna come into low lunge. So just hinge forward, take your hands to your mat. You can bend your knees if you want. Right foot stays at the top of the mat. The left foot is just gonna step all the way back. All right, so I'm just up on the fingertips. If you find this is a bit much, you can always have a block or a stack of books like we were saying last week, whatever works for you. So again, these are being recorded, so if you need to go and grab something, it's okay. You can always go back to the website and watch the video again later. Good, and then slowly just lower that back knee down. Good, and then maybe just bring your hands to your front knee and just hold this here. And sometimes you'll find like your knee gets a little sore being down on the floor. You can always have a towel underneath your knee. Good. Okay, so let's come all the way back. We'll bring down his toy. So we're in Warrior One. Now I want you to angle your back foot. So Wilfred is just over top of my foot, but that's okay. And just come all the way up and reach up to your arms and hold this here. So now with your hips, just rotate your hips forward, stretch your hips or your arms all the way up overhead. Your shoulders should be stacked right over your hips. Try not to lean back too far or forward in like a Superman lunge. You want to be nice and stacked. So we talked a lot last week about spreading out the weight, spreading out the energy of the pose. You'll find your front leg is getting really, really heavy. And it's probably screaming at you right now, but remember Jens Voigt, famous cyclist, shut up legs, right? Take some of the weight back into your back foot. All right, so now let's just straighten out that front leg. You can maybe even shake out the muscle a little bit. With your hips still squared to the front, hands on your hips, just start to hinge from the hips. And again, this doesn't mean you want to come forward with your spine folded. You want to hinge right from the hips. So it's like your tailbone is wanting to point backward. So right about here, that's where I start to feel a really strong stretch. So I'm just going to stop there. And we'll hold that another 2, maybe 3 breaths. So even weight into both feet. Good, now soften the pose. Bring your hands on either side of the foot and just come into plank pose. Now plank, you can do either from your toes or from your knees, whatever feels better to you. Bring your hips just about the same height as your shoulders. Try to take some weight back into your feet. So it feels like you have just about equal weight between your feet and your hands. All right, now take your left foot kind of in the middle and just slightly lift your right foot. About 2 inches off the mat. And let that down, switch sides. So the right foot kind of comes in the middle. The left foot lifts maybe 2-3 inches off the mat. Good. Come down. All right. Let's take your feet a little wider than hip distance and come to downward facing dog. You can soften your knees. Good. Now exhale all the way and then step forward. Inhale, lengthen out. And then exhale, hinge forward as much as you can. And again, you can bend your knees a little if you need to. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale back to Tadasana. So you want to feel again like while you're standing in Tadasana, you want to feel like if somebody came up behind you and kind of shoved you a bit, that you wouldn't move. So you want to be really solid here, really strong legs, feel your muscles hugging the bones, and lift up nice and tall. Good. So from here, let's come back into that nice little vinyasa that we did. So we're going to do low lunge on the other side. So I'm just going to take my hands down and then just reach my right foot back. So we're into a nice high lunge or low lunge, I guess. Again, I'm up on my fingertips. Then a nice little adjustment you can do here is just to kind of hug the adductors in towards each other. So it's kind of like you can imagine as though there's like a sheet of paper running down the middle of the body and you're trying to hug that sheet of paper in. I don't know if that makes sense. Just a couple of breaths, nice and strong. All right, I'm going to lower the back knee. Again, you can have a blanket underneath your knee if you like, and the hands can come to the knee. So where you want to feel the stretch, and it's different for everybody, nothing is really wrong unless you're in pain, you may get a really big stretch here on the outside edge of your hip. You may also get a really good quad stretch. You might find just one side is stretching. While you do these stretches in long holds, you can really see where you have imbalances in your body and where you should focus more. All right, good. So let's just lift that back foot. And I'm just going to take my back foot in just a little bit closer and angle it very slightly so that when I come up, I feel nice and solid, and I'm going to bend into this front leg and hold this here. So you also have an option in this warrior one position where you can take your hands up overhead and just hold that here. If you're feeling really solid, if you're feeling like, again, that's just too much for you this morning, just have your hands at your hips. All right, so just start to straighten the front leg, and again, try to spread out the weight into both feet. And just begin to hinge forward. I'm going to try and aim my belly button towards my big toe. So you'll notice I'm not closing off the chest like we like to do over top of our bike. I'm trying to lead with my chest, lead with my belly button. And you can even reach out through your chin. And that tends to kind of coax your shoulder blades back. So lots of people like to kind of lock their front leg in place as well. If you tend to hyperextend, like your legs reach back a little bit farther than they should, just a little micro bend in your knee is a good idea. All right, good. So just reach down, take your hands either side of your foot, and we're just going to come back to plank pose. So I'm going to come to my toes, or if you like, you can come to your knees. Either way, just bring your hips just about as high as the shoulders. And if you're on your toes, reach back through your heels and coax some of the weight back there. All right, again, we're going to do that one-legged lift. So I'm going to take this time my right foot in the center. The left foot lifts just a little bit higher than last time. All right, and switch sides. Left foot comes to the center. Lift your right leg, about 3 breaths and back down. And then take your feet a little wider than hip distance and back to downward facing dog. So if your arms have had it, like a lot of cyclists, our arms are not our strong suit, you can also come to child's pose. That's totally fine. So whatever works best for you. Good, so just one more exhalation. Then if you like, just walk your feet back up. Good, up to that nice forward fold. And then all the way up, reaching up to your arms. Deep breath in and then back. All right, good. So we're going to come into a balancing pose. Last week we didn't really do much for balancing poses. The nice thing about them, especially for your legs, is that it works all the little supporting muscles, like around your ankles, your knees, everything. When we're cycling, we're using a lot of just really big muscles, and it doesn't really focus on like the entire leg. So we're gonna do tree pose. I'm actually just gonna face forward here. Tree pose and then move into a few little variations. So with tree pose, you're gonna take your standing leg kind of in between the hips. So I'm gonna start with my right leg as my standing leg. All right, well, I'll do the opposite to you. And then just lift your left leg so that your knee is just out in front. And just simply hold it there for a couple breaths. And feel how your standing leg foot kind of shimmies back and forth. That's good. That's those little tiny muscles getting stronger and helping you stay stable. And then just bring your foot either on the inside edge of your thigh. If you're quite flexible, that's great. If that's really uncomfortable, you can also go inside edge of your calf, not your knee. And if you're feeling really unstable, just take your toe down to the mat and rest your heel on the inside edge of your ankle, just like that. So you have 3 options, okay? So whatever works best for you. And then just take a look at your hips. Again, make sure that your toes are right in between the hips as you look down, and your hips are square to the front. And then lift up through your spine. So just like Tadasana, like we did at the beginning of class, your standing leg is rooting down, you're stable, you're strong, and your spine is lifting up. I'm working hard today, out of breath. All right, so if you're feeling good, just bring your hands together. If you want, you can start to lift your hands up overhead. I like to take my hands apart. So just like a couple of deep breaths. It really helps to have something just to soften your gaze towards. You don't want to stare at anything. Just let your eyes soften. All right, relax your arms. Your ankles and your feet might be really burning right now. That's a good thing. Take a break if you need, but try to hold it if you can. The knee comes out in front. I'm going to grab a hold of my knee here and then reach my knee out to the side, but I'm trying to keep my hips facing towards the front. I don't really have a lot of movement when it comes to this pose, so I'm doing my best. Good, just bring that forward, switch hands. And now your spine is going to rotate. The hips stay square to the front. The shoulders reach out to the left side. Stretch back through your left arm. If you're feeling really stable, you can look at the arm or the hand behind your back. I'm less stable today. Good, and then come back forward. Good, let go of your knee and come back to Tadasana. Good, so you'll feel really, really uneven at this point. All right, so just slowly shift your weight over to the opposite foot and just let your right foot get nice and light. And and find that spot that's comfortable for you. So either resting on the inside edge of your ankle or your calf. Again, avoid your knee, because knees are really unstable to begin with anyways. And then just point your hips to the front. So Wilfred is really challenging me today. He's sitting right by my feet here. Again, if you gaze down, your toes should be right between the hips. Root down through that leg, lift up through your spine. And yeah, if you want, you can have your hands out in front. Nice soft eyes, or maybe lift your arms up overhead. So try not to grip your toes. There's a tendency to grip your toes in this pose. If you want to test that out, you can try to lift your toes up off the mat. And then just slowly place them down. That's really hard to do. All right, just relax your arms and just bring your knee back out in front. So you've got your right knee out in front. All right, grab a hold of your knee and then just reach that knee out to the right. Hold that there. Good, bring it back forward, switch hands. Take your left hand onto your right knee and then reach your shoulders out to the right side. Reach your right hand behind your back. And if you want, you can finish it off by taking your gaze backwards towards your fingers. All right, if you can, just bring that back forward. Don't worry if you fall over. And back to Tadasana. Good. Shake your legs out if you need to. Good. All right. And then I'm going to come back to the top of my mat, and I'm going to do a cross-legged forward fold. So that's going to stretch out. You should feel the stretch down the sides of your legs. So what I'm going to do is just take my feet and take them to the opposite side. So I'm crossing my right leg over the left. And as you hinge forward, just come down as far as feels good. You'll find that usually you can't go as far as you normally can. If your hands reach, take them to the floor or to a block. Mine don't really reach today. Or you can keep them at your hips. After doing a pose like tree pose, I find this is really nice. All right, slowly come all the way back up. And then switch sides. So take your left leg over top of the right. And then another thing I should mention is try to press down through your big toes as you do this. All four corners of your feet should be pressing down equally. And then as you hinge forward, don't let your big toes get light. Keep them pressing down. And you'll find that should give you an even better stretch. Again, for those of you that are really flexible this morning, you can fold right forward and take your hands down if you want. All right, good. I'm going to come all the way back up, uncross the legs. Good. Okay, so from here, come down into a forward fold. All right. And then you're just going to take your left foot back, keep your right foot at the top of the mat, and angle your back foot so that the front heel is right in line with the arch of the back foot. Good. And if you can, just kind of bring your right elbow right onto your right knee, and it'll kind of act as a way to keep your knee from spilling forward. All right, so just kind of take that knee back as much as you can. This left arm is just going to reach up alongside your ear. So you're into side angle pose or Parsvottanasana. Good, so to increase the twist in the pose, Really reach that right leg back with your elbow and kind of twist your spine up towards the ceiling a little bit. Again, do what you can do. Don't ever feel like you have to force anything. If you feel like you can't breathe, you may have gone a little bit too far. All right, so just like someone's caught your top hand, pull yourself up and straighten your front leg. And then you're coming into triangle pose. So with your arms stretched out, I want you to just hinge your hips forward. That's it, that's the whole movement. All triangle poses is really just hinging your hips. That's it. Again, don't let your front leg hyperextend. It's not very good for your knees. Just hold a couple breaths if you can. And then just take your bottom hand, let it just rest very lightly, maybe your shin, the calf, and the top hand stretches up. Now I'm just gazing up. You can also gaze down to your toes, whatever feels better for your neck. All right, so let's just come down into kind of like a high lunge. I guess you could call it a high lunge. It's more like a low lunge, I guess. All right, and step that foot forward. Good. And you're into a nice forward fold. Now I'm just going to go right into the other side. So take your right foot back. And I've got it on a bit of an angle, just so it's easier to bend. My front heel is in line with the arch of the back foot. And the left elbow just rests here. You can use your elbow just to guide your chest up towards the ceiling. Your right arm just comes right up alongside your ear. So again, if you find like you're holding your breath, just ease up a little bit, make the stretch a little less. Again, just press into your left arm a little and rotate your chest up to the ceiling a little more. Notice if you're taking too much weight into this front foot, take some weight back. So let's pull yourself up, just straighten your front leg. So we're in triangle pose. Now just begin to hinge your hips forward, and that's it. So again, equal weight in both feet. Try to keep your big toe glued to your mat. Good, next exhalation, just take that bottom hand, rest it very lightly on your leg, and reach your top hand up to the ceiling. You can gaze up or just down to your feet. So experiment with the length of your feet. The wider you take your feet apart, actually the easier the pose is. All right, rotate your chest down, hands either side of your foot. Come into that nice low lunge. All right, good. So let's just step forward and then we'll come into Malasana. So this is a squat. It's actually really good for your low back. I'll show you what it is. I'm just taking my hips down and you'll notice my feet are all the way down. So that's just simply not possible for some people's ankles because of the bony structure. So if you find you need to come up onto your toes, that's fine too. You can also place a book underneath your heels if you need to. And some people just can't come right down into the squat. So just do what you can do. And we'll hold it just a couple of breaths. So this should feel really, really nice on your low back. Again, try not to let your chest cave in. Try to lift your chest open. All right, and the floor is right there. You can just come right down into a seated position. So this is where your towel or a strap comes in really handy. So we're going to come into a pose that's actually called Supta Padangusasana. So it's reclined, hand to toe pose. It's kind of what it translates into. So you're laying on your back, And I've got my left leg nice and straight. So just think of Tadasana, think of that nice strong pose. And you want to feel like you're in Tadasana, but just laying down. Okay, so my legs are quite strong right now. They're like holding a lot of strength and I'm not letting them go loose. And then I'm taking, Wilfred, I'm taking the strap just around, kind of like, okay, Wilfred, no, you can't do that. It's gonna go like this. Just kind of around like the, not the toes, but this top part of the foot, the ball of the foot. And as I reach up, I've got my legs straight. You may find, like, just kind of experiment, like how high can I actually take my leg before I feel a stretch? When you start to feel a little bit of stretch, that's enough. You don't want to overdo it. That's when injuries happen and it's just not comfortable. All right, so nice strong bottom leg. You'll notice I've got my foot flexed. My top foot is flexed as well. And I'm just going to hold that there. So I'm really opening up the back of the knee as much as I can. Don't worry about how high that foot is lifting. As long as you're feeling a stretch, that's good. Just hold a little bit longer. All right, now just take both ends of the strap into your right hand. I'm going to take that right foot out to the right side. My left hand is kind of anchoring me in place. I've got my bookshelf kind of in the way, so I think I can go out to the side. What you don't want to have happen is your left hip popping up and you spilling over. So try to stay with your hips upright, just like in tree pose that we did earlier. We won't hold too long, just come all the way back up. And then switch sides. This time we're not going to go over too far. I'm just bringing my right foot in line with my left shoulder. And now just pull the pinky side of your foot down towards your face. You should feel the outside edge of your leg really stretching open. Good. And then back, I'm just going to release the straps. I'm not really holding them. And I'm slowly going to lower my foot back down. All right. And now it's really easy. You can just slide your opposite foot into the strap and switch sides. So I'm just going to bend my leg to bring that back up. Good. And again, just bring your leg as high as feels good for you. Everybody's different here. Both feet are flexed. Pull your toes towards you. And just get the feeling like you're standing up, like standing upright. So both legs nice and strong. Again, I won't hold this too long. Take both ends of the strap into your left hand. Again, keep your hips as level as you can. I'm going to put my right hand on my right hip and make sure it doesn't lift. And then I'm taking that left leg out to the side. This is not super easy, so don't worry if it's a bit of a long hold. You can take breaks whenever you want. So it kind of helps. I'm actually just resting my elbow down on the floor. And then pull yourself back up. You really have to use your adductors here. I'm going to switch hands, bringing my left foot in line with my right shoulder, and then pull the pinky side of your foot down towards your face. Feel that stretching open right down the side of the leg. So these are fairly short holds. If you choose to practice this on your own, I would lengthen it out just a little bit. And then just release your strap. And then just very lightly holding the strap, just take that leg all the way back down. Good. All right, so we're kind of nearing the end. I think what we'll do is just do a little bit of a twist. So just take your strap, place it off to the side. And I'm going to take my right leg and just bend my knee, pull the knee into the chest, and just pull in nice and tight. Feel your low back releasing. All right, using your left hand, pull your right knee right over top of you so that your right hip stacks right over the left. Some people like to have a pillow right underneath their knee. That can be really helpful if you're quite tight. And then your chest should try to stay open. I'm going to aim towards taking my right shoulder down to the floor. It's not quite there, but that's what I want. And then just reach that arm out nice and straight. I have to kind of bend my hand because my bookcase is in the way. So now don't lose that line of energy. So right from your left heel, strengthen your leg and feel that line reaching all the way up through your spine and out through the top of your head. You're nice and strong. If you want, you can look out over your right fingers. All right, so let's just untwist the Wilfred. All right, take your right leg nice and long, the left leg bends. Pull your knee in nice and strong, squeeze your knee in. Good, now using your right hand, pull your left knee right over top of you. And then the left hip stacks right over top of the right hip. Again, you can adjust pillows however you like. I'm going to try to take both shoulders down and then stretch that left arm out. Good. And if you want, you can look out over your left fingers as long as it feels good for your neck. So again, just check in with the whole body. Check in with the right heel. Reach out through the heel, strengthen your leg. Feel that line right from your heel, up through the leg, right through the spine. All right, let's untwist. Okay, and then we're on the floor, it's comfortable. If you like, have a pillow behind your head, maybe a towel under your knees if you like, or a pillow under your knees, and we'll do Shavasana. This is corpse pose, relaxation. So take your legs out nice and wide, let your arms rest out to the sides, take up some space. Let your eyes close. And just try to bring some softness to your body. Now just be aware of your feet, the bottoms of your feet and your toes. With that feeling of warmth and relaxation spread over your feet and up to your ankles. Relax your shins, your calves, all the way through your knees, your upper legs, hips. Your entire lower body is completely relaxed. Now just be aware of your belly, softly lifting as you inhale and falling as you exhale. Low back relaxed. Make any adjustments you need to make sure that everything feels comfortable. And relax your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Feel that space in between your fingers. And then just bring your focus up to your neck and the base of your skull. Let those areas relax and soften so that your head feels nice and heavy. Your jaw, ears, relax. Eyes, eyelids, and forehead, nice and soft. And just feel that relaxation moving right up to the top of your head. And you can stay here as long as you like. That nice, slow, soft breathing. Just filling your belly nice and softly and letting your breath go. Relax here for a few more moments if you wish. And when you feel ready, you can just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, maybe bend your knees, and just come back to a seated position. And that's it for this week. I'll see you for the last class next week. And it'll be a surprise. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but it'll be good. So thank you for coming, and I'll see you later.